Being insecure about one's true self is not uncommon in today's society, especially in the younger generations that are growing up. There are various factors that contribute to this insecurity, such as social media, over-prioritization of external opinions, comparison, and etc. However, the one thing that these factors seem to have in common is the desire to feel a sense of self-worth or validation. Everyone has a need to feel like they have their own place in this world. Therefore, this can be an unconscious driver for a lot of our behavioral patterns. But what we don't seem to realize is that in some or many cases, this can be detrimental to us because these behavioral patterns, they promote imbalanced priorities. They overly weigh the need to be seen and validated by other humans while brushing aside the equally as or possibly more important need of being respected and valued by oneself. This can have an overwhelmingly negative impact on our sense of self-worth and manifest in all sorts of forms, such as depression, anxiety, aggression, drug abuse, and more. I deeply relate with having felt like I have to be more like my peers or conventionally admired people to experience a pleasurable life. This caused me to view my life through the lens that my personal interests weren't of much value or that the life I was living wasn't worth much. I would try to be invested in what everyone else was to fit in and not stand out from the crowd. But what ended up happening is that this placed a huge strain on my mental health and it caused me to walk around with a negative cloud over my head, one that I believed I was stuck with. When people would tell me that comparison is the thief of joy or to not care what others think, I would simply cast this aside as toxic positivity propaganda. But the more that I get older, I realize how naive my younger self was for ignoring this wisdom. The core piece of information I seem to have been omitting is that we all have different lives. We are born to different parents with different parenting styles, in different financial situations, in different areas. And at the foundational core of it, we have different genetic makeups. That means we have different minds that are influenced differently by different life experiences. It is easy to assume that because we are all human and live on the same earth and experience similar patterns in our lives, that we should all experience the same things in the same way. However, this is simply not the case, as we can see in our day-to-day lives. Having said this, it is starkly obvious that devaluing our own lives and experiences based on those of others is completely illogical and only serves to have a negative impact on one's life. However, it is not that we don't realize that this thinking pattern is illogical, but since we have been doing it for so long without any intentional action to nullify its effects, we have been festering an unconscious habit that requires more than just awareness to shake. The initial stage of changing these patterns requires us to draw our consciousness to them. This can be simply done by making a mental note of every time we catch ourselves devaluing our own lives based on someone else's. However, it is not beneficial to look at this as an opportunity to cast judgment on ourselves, but simply as a chance to bring awareness to an unconscious habit. This can also be done whenever we express an interest or opinion which someone else deems unvaluable and we start to believe them without thoughtful reflection. Drawing awareness to these thinking patterns allows us to realize the severity of the problem, and it can possibly allow us to start noticing the effects that they have on us. But as mentioned before, awareness alone isn't enough to solve the problem. A good method to finding the best solution suited to you for solving this problem, and in many cases any problem, is doing brief research on the concept of accepting oneself through online mediums such as Reddit or YouTube. And now that I think of it, books are an amazing source of information as well. They're the primary source of information. These places can hold a lot of valuable information, but it is important as a reader to sift through the mountain of opinions and find the information that best resonates with you. I personally like the method of reflecting on one's internal experience through writing and introspective conversations with myself. These methods allow me to better visualize the inner workings of my mind, which in this context are how it deals with comparison and opposing opinions. Writing allows me to put these situations into a more logical perspective, one that is not clouded with emotions. And it allows me to put the unconscious conclusions that I come to under the spotlight and debunk them. This works for me because it allows me to see for myself why the comparison and uncertainty of my own opinions is baseless. And this creates an opportunity for me to act with more intentionality. Think of it like working on a really hard math problem, one which you struggle a lot to find the answer. But once you do solve it, the concept behind the problem is practically ingrained in your mind compared to if the teacher just had told you the answer. It is also helpful to reflect on our experiences with these practices, to see what is helping us and what isn't as effective. Reflection can also help us to develop our own ideas on how to become more content with ourselves through the process of analyzing the information that we researched and adding our own thoughts to them. I know this may seem like a lot of work, but think of it less as tedious work and more as intentional action or intentional effort to positively alter the landscape of your mind. I just came back from upstairs because I had to change my shirt because it's so sweaty. It's so sweaty. It's so hot in Jamaica right now. And like my entire shirt was getting drenched. I'm in my new shirt now and I wanted to show you guys the photo album or family photo album. Well, I don't know if it's really a family photo album because like it's mainly just pictures of me in it, but like who doesn't love pictures of themselves? Anyways, I feel like this is super relevant to this video because if you've ever looked at like pictures of your younger self in like a photo album or on your phone or wherever you keep old pictures or old photos, one thing you realize is that like it's like your smile or the face that you have or the demeanor that we had when we were younger is so much purer and just so much more rich than it is now. Now where it's just like we're trying so hard to be like mature and to not stray too far from the crowd or whatever. And I don't know, like maybe that's part of the reason, maybe because we matured, maybe that's part of the reason why so many people find themselves so unhappy nowadays. And maybe that's why, maybe that's why we were so much happier. Look at this one. This is a picture of me when I was a little baby. I don't know if you can see it, but pictures like that, they're just so, I don't know, it just makes you look back at yourself and wonder, is that really me? You know? This is a classic. Look at this one. This is me with the guitar, man. Is this me? I think so. Yeah, I think it's me. I don't know. Could not be me. I think I'd recognize myself, but yeah. This is me with the guitar at some age when I was younger. And it just looks so much, I don't know, just look how happy I was. I don't know. Where does the time go? Anyways. Look at this one. Can you even focus? Yeah, look at me. I don't think in this one I was so happy, but I mean, look at him. Doesn't have a clue. This is one where I was in prep school. I don't remember who her name is, or what her name was, but yeah, when I wanted to be a doctor. But then I realized how much work it takes to pursue medicine, and I was like, yeah, screw that. I'll be a pilot instead. And then I gave up on that dream as well, so I mean, yeah, this guy gives up on all of his dreams, but that's no problem. Yeah, look at all of these pictures, man. Cutie patootie. Oh, stunner. Look at this handsome young fella. But anyways, the point I was trying to make is that it's so crazy how we can look back at our older selves and as I said, you just realize how much just content with ourselves we looked. We weren't thinking about what John thought of, the shoes we were wearing or what Mary thought of the shirt I was wearing or whatever. We're just so much more at peace. We're just living like life as is and just not comparing ourselves to other people, but like as you mature more, as I mentioned before, and as you try to achieve more in life and be more successful or whatever it is. I don't know the exact reason why, but as we mature, we just for some reason start to get more self-conscious, and then as I said, we find ourselves in these more unhappy states with ourselves, and maybe it's a sign that our younger selves had some sort of wisdom that we don't know, that we should, just stop caring as much and just be yourself. But anyways, yeah, that's all for the pattern break, or I don't know what I'm calling these, like these little like breaks from the main narrative or main plot of the videos, just something, I guess. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's it. Now to the good stuff. The main benefit of this process is the overall feeling of pleasure that it brings to our lives. I want to make a quick caveat and mention that this feeling should not be mixed up with happiness, as happiness is a fleeting emotion that we experience at moments of heightened positive experience in our lives. This pleasure that I mentioned refers to a general positivity cast over our lives that is not extremely stimulating, but is adequate enough. This feeling allows us to enjoy the day-to-day activities of our life, whether it is going on a vacation to Italy or simply washing the dishes. This feeling also allows us to pursue our hobbies and interests that deeply resonate with us without caring about any external or opposing opinions. When we begin to live our lives out of our own intentions and not what is important to others, it starts to cultivate the core value of self-respect. This core value is what the qualities of confidence and self-esteem are based in, qualities that people nowadays seem to be searching for heavily, but have a hard time finding. The embodiment of self-respect in our lives allows us to feel more intrinsically fulfilled and secure, decreasing our dependence on external validation. This also makes room in our lives for more valuable relationships with supportive people, as by nature of this process, we distance ourselves from overly critical people who add no real substance to our lives. Truthfully, you'll never meet anybody who is opinionless and never opposes your opinions, which is why it is crucial to have a level of assertiveness in your opinions. But there are people who are overly critical and never provide any positive feedback. And in these cases, I believe these are people that we can do without. So where does that leave us? If you take anything from this video, let it be this. In this world of comparison and an over-reliance on external validation, the most important relationship that we have is the one with ourselves. The journey of becoming comfortable with ourselves will look pretty much different for everybody. But the common traits that anyone pursuing this journey will require are perseverance, patience, and self-respect. This process isn't about becoming perfect and never being affected by external opinions or comparison, but is about becoming content with what you have, the person you are becoming, and the choices that you make. The more effort we spend valuing ourselves is the less dependent we become on what other people think. And that is truthfully where I think we start to experience true fulfillment. Anyways, my camera is about to die, and that's pretty much it. That's the app session for today. It's been your boy Cozzy, and I'm out.
You don't know that every time you look at me with those eyes, everything inside my head goes blank.